Hello and welcome back to another Breaker video, where today I'm continuing the EVA career series with Bill Kerman building the first ever aircraft. Building this aircraft takes quite a long time because there's no symmetry mode that you can take advantage of. And also I encounter a lot of problems during construction, which you will see in a minute. So here I am attaching the left wing, then the aileron wing, and then the wing tip. And then I do the same on the other side. I attach a wing section and I placed it the wrong way. You may notice the aerofoil is facing the wrong way, so I have to take it off and put it back on again. There we go. It's very hard to place it perfectly in line with the other wing. There's the main wing section. Let's get this wing tip and attach it there. Then next we attach the vertical and horizontal stabilizers, which is also a struggle because you have to attach them perfectly in line with each other and centered, which is quite annoying to do without symmetry mode or angle snap. Though EVA construction stock does have angle snap, but it can be a bit wonky, and also the stock one is quite buggy as well. So I prefer using Kerbal Inventory System because it's less buggy. So you can see the first problem I encountered with using both the stock one and the modded one. 2 landing gears appeared. So now I will attach the landing gear, which you'll see maybe in a couple of minutes that, oh, I flipped the plane. But you'll see in a couple of minutes I have quite a few problems with the landing gear. So there we go, the plane's back upright again. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to build this plane. Then we'll attach the other main landing gear. There we go. Let's attach the truss onto the back to raise the tail a little bit. And then we'll go and look at the controls. Oh, Bill is sat backwards. So that means the controls are reversed. So I have to quickly reverse all of the controls. And while I'm setting them up. So the controls are all reversed so that it flies normal. There we go. Just raising the tail up a bit more so I can attach the tail wheel. And then we'll attach the science onto it. There's the science being attached. And here you can see the next problem. The engine propellers will touch the ground. So I have to try and figure out a way to stop it touching the ground. So I first try raising the tail wheel a bit, which leads to a few problems. Which is still not enough after I do this test here. You can see with the propeller spinning, it's shaking the plane as the propeller touches the ground. It's a good job these propellers are indestructible, because that propeller would be probably need replacing after that. So it's time to lower the main landing gear a bit to allow the front to sit higher. There we go. The engine should not touch the ground anymore, or the propellers even. The propellers should not touch the ground anymore. There we go, control check. Oh, I'm not checking the ailerons or the rudder though. There we go, starting the engine. Propellers are not touching the ground, so let's taxi past this truss and we'll take off. There we go, camera onto locked. And it's flying surprisingly well for a plane I just threw together in 5 minutes. It actually took like 20 minutes to build, but 5 minutes of the video to build, but 20 minutes real life time. Here I am flying past the launch pad. But yeah, most planes you just throw together don't fly that well at first. Like, most of my planes that I build don't fly too well when I do their first flight, and I often crash them on their first flight. But you can see this one seems to fly perfectly fine. It's quite stable and has a slight pitch down moment, so you have to hold back on the stick a little bit. It looks like we're flying over grasslands now, so let's do some science. Ah, it's shores, not grasslands. Even though it looks like grasslands, still shores. Here we go, we're over the grasslands now. So I'm doing the science that I need to do. And now I will try and land this thing in the middle of the grasslands. So I'm going idle throttle. I'm seeing what it's like in a stall just then, just so I know what speed to land at. And now I will try and touch down in the grass, and you'll see some problems happen. The propeller touches the ground, then the horizontal stabilizer breaks off. And this is all due to those landing gear issues that we suffered at the beginning of the video. Then I try and do some science. So I'm just doing some things to allow me to do science. So an EVA report. Then I forget that the temperature report has already been done, so I have to get back out of the seat to reset it. Take data. There we go. Then we'll get back on board and Let's do some science. The last one to do is mystery goo, and then we'll recover the plane. Here is the truck. Heidi Kerman is driving it over to the runway with a Kerbal that we've never flown before, as I want to get to space and I've not managed to get there yet. So here is the next Kerbal pilot. I just ran her over. So this is Valentina Kerman. Jeb went on our last flight. So Valentina Kerman will be the next Kerbal to fly on a rocket. You can see Heidi Kerman is quite scared driving this truck, even though it's going at a nice safe speed. Maybe not for flipping, but still she gets scared at like 12 meters per second, which is like 27 miles an hour, which I do find a bit ridiculous. Here is Bill starting construction on the rocket. But yeah, I generally find Kerbals a bit ridiculous if they get scared anywhere below 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour, which is about 20 meters per second. If they get scared above that, I'm fine with them, but if it's below 20 meters per second, I never send them to space because they're obviously not suited for it. And so Heidi Kerman will be fired once I get another engineer, because she is obviously not up to the task of being an astronaut. That does also mean Bob Kerman will never be flown to space, though I won't fire Bob because he's one of the original Kerbals. So I'm playing around with these parts, trying to get them up this frame. One rule is, I didn't mention at the beginning of the series, is that I am allowed to construct these towers in the VAB, but I can only construct things out of trusses in the VAB, which limits what I can build. So there's the rocket complete. Bill and Heidi Kerman will be sent to the bunker, which I forgot to do in the last video. You may have noticed in the last video I just left Bill and Heidi stood on the launch pad as I launched the rocket. This time I will actually send them to the bunker. So here's Bill Kerman in the bunker. And here is Heidi Kerman. Now just going in the bunker. And there's the rocket, ready on the launch pad. I'm just checking there that it will launch without hitting the tower. And liftoff. We have liftoff of the rocket, with Valentina Kerman on her first flight. You may notice there's a bit of a staging error, where I'm firing the second stage engine through the solid rocket booster. Luckily I had the throttle on 0, so no explosions happened. I just noticed my staging error just then, so I noticed the easiest way to do it would be just to right click on the decoupler and decouple it manually. Then we're on the second stage. hopefully this gets to space, as the past 2 flights that I wanted to go to space didn't make it. And you can see by the apoapsis in the bottom left corner that we have indeed reached space. Well, not quite, but the apoapsis is in space. So now is just to accelerate horizontally to have less G-forces on re-entry. And there we go, there's burnout of the second stage. And we're on our way to space with an apoapsis of 90 kilometers. And there we go, we're in space. Valentina is the first Kerbal in space. And if you were looking at the funds in the top right corner, I doubled the amount of funds that I have. I use those funds on getting a new astronaut complex to be able to try and get more engineers. So there I'm getting rid of the notifications, separating the capsule and preparing for re-entry, which this will be the hottest re-entry yet. There we go, and you know how I said about trying not to pull too many Gs? It's still pulled like 5 Gs on that re-entry. There's parachute deploy. And with Valentina coming down to a safe landing, remember to dislike and unsubscribe if you didn't enjoy the video, and maybe you'll watch the next video. But if you didn't enjoy it, you probably wouldn't watch the next one.